After the department dinner, Monica from HR dropped a payment request in the group chat. I wasn't feeling well, so I skipped the department dinner last night. The moment I got to the office this morning, I saw her message in the group chat. Last night's dinner came out to $850. Please send me $45 each. Monica was in charge of HR for our department, and rumor had it her husband was a company shareholder. Naturally, no one dared to cross her. Payment notifications started popping up one by one. I figured it had nothing to do with me and was about to put my phone away when it buzzed again. Monica had tagged me. "Rachel, you too. Don't forget, I wasn't even there." Thinking she had simply forgotten, I replied in the chat to gently remind her. I never expected her to explode. She launched into a full-blown tirade right there in the group. What's that supposed to mean? The dinner was priced per head. I booked everything in advance. It's your problem that you didn't show up, but that doesn't mean you're exempt from paying. Are you really so broke you're trying to skip out on $45? Her words were utterly merciless. My face flushed hot with embarrassment. I had messaged her privately the day before to explain I couldn't make it. She told me it was no problem and that the restaurant charged by the dish, not per person. What changed overnight? A colleague sitting next to me leaned over and whispered, "Rachel, you're new to this department. You really don't want to get on Monica's bad side." But this wasn't my fault. And more than that, what she said was just plain nasty. I took a screenshot of our conversation from the day before and posted it in the group, tagging her directly. "Monica, yesterday you said it was fine. Why the change of heart today? If you told me up front, I would have just paid. Are you really that desperate for my $45? The moment the message went out, I could hear a collective gasp ripple through the open plan office. Several people gave me subtle thumbs-ups. Honestly, I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. But she started it, and I was holding back far harsher thoughts. I'd seen a video from the dinner last night. A few simple family-style dishes on the table. Not even a single bottle of wine. How on earth did that cost over $800? The chat went silent. I ignored it, tossed my phone aside, and focused on my work. I wasn't worried about getting fired for pissing her off. I expected Monica to stomp over to my desk any minute. But it wasn't until lunch break that she finally appeared, stilettos clicking, designer bag swinging, her face a mask of fury. "Who do you think you are?" she hissed. "When did I ever say you didn't have to pay? Who knows if that screenshot is photoshopped? And even if I did say it, it was only because I felt sorry for the new girl. Now the entire department has paid except you. What makes you so special? You think you're better than everyone else?" Looking at her perfectly made-up face and expensive outfit, I realized something. She hadn't even been in the office that morning. Her outburst startled everyone from their lunch break, but when they saw who it was, they immediately went back to staring at their screens, fuming but silent. A few shot me resentful glances. Seeing that I wasn't responding, Monica assumed I was scared. She planted her hands on her hips, looming over me. "Pay me the dinner fee right now, and then you'll apologize to me in front of the entire department. Otherwise, I'll make sure your life in this office is a living hell." It was a blatant threat. A fresh-faced rookie might have buckled immediately. But I wasn't a rookie. I'd been with this company for 10 years. Most of my old colleagues had either been laid off or transferred. As a long-term employee with a permanent contract and a documented workplace injury on my record, I was practically untouchable. The company couldn't fire me without a massive headache. I wasn't scared at all. In fact, the thought of what was coming thrilled me. "Fine. I'll pay," I said. A smirk spread across Monica's face. "That's more like it." "I'll pay on one condition," I cut in. "You have to admit, right here and now, that you can't survive without my $45. The second you say it, I'll transfer the money. Deal?" The smirk froze on her face. When she finally processed what I'd said, she slammed her hand on my desk. "Rachel, how dare you mock me?" she shrieked, her voice nearly cracking. Then a cunning look crossed her face. She turned to address the rest of the office. "Since Rachel refuses to pay for the dinner, her share will be split among the rest of you. Everyone, please send me an extra $10. My face hardened. She was trying to strong-arm me into paying. $10 wasn't much, but I knew exactly what she was doing. She wanted my colleagues to resent me, to isolate me. If I gave in now, there would be a next time. And another after that. I couldn't swallow this insult. I sent a direct message to the top boss. Mr. Thompson, I have a question. Is it company policy to charge employees for department events they didn't attend? When was this rule implemented? He didn't reply. Probably in a meeting. Meanwhile, murmurs filled the office. Why should we have to pay? It's not our fault she didn't. What are we, her personal piggy bank? Even the colleague who had warned me earlier shifted her chair away from me. Seeing that her plan was working, Monica shot me a smug look that said, "You're out of your league. Transfer the money by the end of the day," she said. This time, I said nothing. But something about all of it felt very wrong. Later that afternoon, I went to the fire stairwell to cool off. Just as I was about to leave, I heard high heels approaching. Acting on instinct, I ducked around the corner. It was Monica, on her phone, her voice dripping with smug satisfaction. Just wait. She'll be packing her bags within a month. Report me? Who'd dare? Those idiots would rather lick my boots. And that restaurant last night was a great find. Cheap and decent. The whole thing was barely over $1,000. She laughed softly. Trying to fight me? She really needs to look in the mirror. I stayed hidden until she left. So it was never about the $45. It was about forcing me to quit. That settled it. Back at my desk, I pulled up the dinner video again, scanning it frame by frame. No logo, no sign. Just as I was about to give up, my eyes landed on the plates. They looked familiar. Too familiar. I opened my photo album and pulled up the design of the custom plates from my parents' restaurant. It was a perfect match. I immediately called my mom. She confirmed everything. About a dozen people. Cheapest dishes. A demanded discount. The total was $250. And Monica had asked for a fake receipt for $850. My dad had told her to get lost. Security footage confirmed it. Every single one of my colleagues. By the end of the day, Monica posted an invoice in the group chat and tagged me again. "Rachel, here's the restaurant invoice. Just so you can't claim I overcharged you. But if you're really okay letting your colleagues cover for you, be my guest." Then she added one more message. "And don't even think about running to Mr. Thompson." That's when I opened the main company group chat. The one with hundreds of employees. I forwarded every message. The real itemized bill. The fake invoice. Then I tagged senior management. I'd like to ask whether management is aware that a member of HR is using team dinners to skim money and create fraudulent invoices. The second I hit send in the main company group chat, the office didn't just go quiet. It went weightless. Like the whole floor had been yanked out from under everyone at once. At first, nothing happened. No replies. No reactions. Not even a single scene checkmark to reassure me the message had landed. Then my phone lit up with the first reaction. A shocked emoji. Then another. Then a third. And suddenly the reactions multiplied so fast they looked like fireworks. My screen filled with typing bubbles that appeared, disappeared, appeared again, people starting messages and deleting them, like nobody wanted to be the first to say the wrong thing in front of hundreds of coworkers. In the open plan office, chairs shifted. Keyboard stopped. Someone coughed and it sounded too loud. I kept my face blank and stared at my monitor as if I'd just sent a normal meeting invite instead of a grenade. The department chat was the first to crack. "Monica, Rachel, you are out of line." A second later, another message. "Monica, stop spreading lies. This is defamation." Then another. "Monica, I have your IP address, you know." That one was so ridiculous I almost laughed. Almost. But the room around me didn't laugh. People pretended not to watch, but I caught the way their eyes flicked toward my desk, then quickly away, like looking too long might make them a target. The next notification came from the main company chat. "Ms. Delaney, Operations Director, Monica, stop messaging in this channel. Compliance and Finance will review." Rachel, please forward all supporting documents to compliance immediately. My heart didn't race with fear. It steadied. Because that message was the first real proof that someone above Monica was paying attention. I opened my email and built a clean file trail. Subject line, documentation, department dinner payment request, invoice discrepancy. I attached 1. The screenshot of Monica's private message telling me it was fine and the restaurant charged by the dish. 2. The real itemized bill for my parents' restaurant, food, tax, total. 3. Monica's posted invoice for $850. 4. Still frames from the security footage, time-stamped, showing a dozen employees entering, Monica at the front, and the table setup. 5. A short note from my mother confirming Monica demanded a fake receipt and was refused. I ended the email with one sentence. If needed, the full security footage can be provided directly by the restaurant upon request. Then I hit send to the compliance inbox Ms. Delaney had included. 2 minutes later, I received an auto-reply, case created. Reference ID, C1847. That was when the office began to breathe again, but not in a calm way. In a panicked way. My phone buzzed with private messages. Mina, accounting, Rachel, please tell me you're sure. Because if you're sure, this is huge. Omar, sales, she pulled the same thing on us for team building last year. We never questioned it. Someone unknown, thank you. I thought I was crazy. The department chat erupted into a messy mix of fear and self-preservation. Colleague 1, Rachel, why would you do this in the main chat? Colleague 2, now HR will hate us. Colleague 3, if this is true, we've been scammed. Colleague 4, delete it before it gets worse. I didn't respond. Because it was already worse. Or rather, better. Monica went offline. Her status vanished in both chats, as if she'd run out of oxygen and needed a second to find a new face to put on. She stayed silent for exactly 3 minutes. Then she returned, and the first thing she did was try to rewrite reality. In the main company chat she posted, Monica, HR, hi everyone. There seems to be a misunderstanding. The invoice reflects additional expenses including service fees and administrative costs. Please do not spread rumors. Administrative costs. I stared at that phrase and felt something cold slide into place. Because that wasn't panic. That was strategy. She wasn't just denying it. She was testing the room to see if she could still control it. A new message appeared beneath hers. Compliance, automated, Monica, please do not discuss ongoing matters in public channels. That message didn't have a name attached, just the official compliance account. It was the digital equivalent of a hand closing around Monica's throat. Monica didn't reply in the main chat after that. Instead, she came back to the department floor. I heard her before I saw her, heels snapping against the tile, the sharp rhythm of someone who wanted the entire building to know she was arriving. She stopped at the edge of my desk and leaned down so close I could smell her perfume, expensive, sweet, suffocating. Do you feel proud? She whispered, voice low and vibrating. Do you feel powerful? I looked up slowly. I feel tired of being threatened. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. 10 years here and you still don't understand how this company works. I held her gaze. I understand exactly. Her nostrils flared. You're about to learn what happens when you embarrass HR. Then she straightened like nothing had happened and walked away, calm, composed, like the villain in a movie who believed the ending was already written. The moment she disappeared into the hallway, the woman who had shifted her chair away earlier, Julie, leaned toward me. Her voice was small. Rachel. Did you really tag all of management? I didn't look at her. Yes. Julie swallowed. She's going to come after us. She always does. I typed one line into a blank document, just to keep my hands busy. She can try. For the rest of the afternoon, an invisible wall formed around my desk. People still had questions, but none of them wanted to be seen asking me. They whispered in pairs. They huddled near the printers. They avoided eye contact, like silence could shield them from accountability. Then, at 4:36 p.m., my phone buzzed with a calendar invite. Conference room B, immediate. Organizer, Mr. Thompson. I stood. The entire department watched me walk out, and for the first time that day, nobody pretended not to. Conference room B was already full when I arrived. Mr. Thompson sat at the head of the table, jaw tight, eyes tired. Ms. Delaney sat to his right, posture perfectly still. A man in a navy suit with a laptop sat to the left, compliance. And Monica was already there, sitting with her legs crossed and her hands folded on the table like she was at a job interview. She looked polished. But her eyes were too bright, too sharp. She didn't look afraid. She looked like someone calculating which lie would cost her the least. Mr. Thompson pointed to a chair near the door. Sit. I sat. Ms. Delaney spoke first. Rachel, confirm, the restaurant in question belongs to your family. Yes. Monica gave a soft laugh. Of course it does. The compliance man didn't look up. We spoke with the owner. Monica's smile flickered. He continued, voice flat. They confirmed the total charged was $250. They also confirmed you requested a fabricated receipt for $850. They refused. We have documentation of that call. Monica's face tightened. That's not what happened. Ms. Delaney's eyes narrowed. Then explain why you collected $45 per employee for a bill that was $250. Monica's expression hardened into indignation. Because there were other costs. Tips, service fees. The tip is included, I said calmly. Monica snapped her head toward me. You don't get to speak. Mr. Thompson raised a hand. Monica. She bit her tongue so hard I saw the muscle twitch in her cheek. The compliance man clicked something on his laptop. There's more. We received a screenshot from another employee. Monica's gaze darted. From who? Someone who requested confidentiality, he said. It shows a message from you stating, if Rachel doesn't pay, I'll make her life miserable until she quits. Monica's lips parted. Then closed. Ms. Delaney leaned forward, voice colder. Retaliation threats. Coercion. Forged documentation. Monica's eyes flashed. This is a witch hunt. That screenshot could be fake. I didn't flinch. Like mine. Monica's hand twitched toward me as if she wanted to slap the air itself. Mr. Thompson spoke slowly, each word deliberate. Monica, you're being placed on administrative leave effective immediately. IT will suspend your access today. Compliance will continue the investigation. Monica's chair scraped back. You can't do that. Mr. Thompson's eyes didn't leave hers. Watch me. Monica's composure cracked for half a second, and what slipped through wasn't fear. It was rage. She turned to me, voice low. You think you've won? You just made enemies you can't even name. Miss Delaney stood. Monica, you will be escorted to collect your personal items and leave the building. Monica's throat bobbed. She tried to smile again, but it came out sharp. Fine. Then, as she walked past me, she leaned in just enough for me to hear. This won't protect you from what's coming. The door opened, and a security officer appeared. Monica's heels clicked away, but they didn't sound confident anymore. They sounded fast. Like she was running. When the door shut, the air felt different, cleaner, but tense. Mr. Thompson rubbed his forehead. Rachel, I'm sorry. I kept my voice steady. I messaged you at noon. His jaw tightened. I didn't see it. Ms. Delaney's eyes moved between us like she was measuring something invisible. Compliance closed his laptop. Rachel, you did the right thing. If there's any retaliation, you report it immediately. We'll document everything. I nodded. Then I said the question that had been burning since the stairwell. Who was she talking to? Mr. Thompson blinked. What? In the stairwell, I said. She told someone I'd be packing my bags within a month. That wasn't a guess. That was a plan. Silence. Ms. Delaney's gaze sharpened. You have reason to believe someone else is involved? I did. But I didn't have proof yet. So I said the truth I could prove. She was confident. Too confident. Compliance nodded once. We'll look. When I returned to the floor, the department pretended to work, but every person in that room was listening to the air. My phone buzzed. Department chat. Finance team, all employees who contributed to the department dinner payment request will be refunded. Please do not send further payments to individuals. Use the official expense process moving forward. Refunded. That message landed like a slap. Because it confirmed, publicly, that Monica's collection wasn't legitimate. People began checking their banking apps right at their desks. Faces shifted, anger turning into embarrassment, embarrassment turning into guilt. Julie, the one who had moved away from me, looked like she wanted to vanish. She leaned toward me, voice barely audible. Rachel. I'm sorry. I didn't answer. Not because I didn't accept it. Because I knew it wouldn't matter yet. An apology wasn't going to fix what Monica had been trying to do, isolate me. And isolation didn't happen in one day. It happened slowly, through small choices people made to protect themselves. That evening, as employees filtered out, I packed up calmly. I didn't rush. I didn't linger. I walked into the elevator and stared at my reflection in the mirrored wall. My face looked calm. But my eyes didn't. When I stepped into the parking lot, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Stop digging if you know what's good for you. I stared at it. No name. No context. No signature. Just a threat. My hands didn't shake. My stomach didn't drop. Instead, something in me went very still. Because now I knew for sure. Monica wasn't the end of it. She was the door. I forwarded the message to compliance with a single line. Received at 6:14 p.m. unknown number. Retaliation threat. Then I got into my car and drove home. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop open and a notebook beside it, and I made a list. Every department event in the last year. Every time someone collected money informally. Every time a receipt looked odd. Every time someone said, "Don't ask questions." The next morning, I arrived early. The office still smelled like stale coffee and printer toner. People avoided my eyes again, but differently now, less contempt, more uncertainty. And then something strange happened. At 9:12 a.m., a company-wide email went out. Subject, policy reminder, expense reporting and collections. It was signed by finance and compliance. It was short, direct, and brutal in its simplicity. Employees are prohibited from collecting funds for company events via personal transfer platforms. All event expenses must be processed through official channels. Any violations should be reported immediately. My stomach didn't twist. It relaxed. Because policy emails like that didn't get written unless there was a fire. And the company was finally acknowledging smoke. An hour later, I received another calendar invite. This time, it wasn't just Mr. Thompson. It included Ms. Delaney, the head of finance. Conference room D. When I entered, I saw the head of finance, Mr. Kendall, sitting with a thick folder. He didn't smile. He didn't waste time. "Rachel," he said, "we're auditing expense-related anomalies." Ms. Delaney watched me carefully. "This isn't only about one dinner." Mr. Kendall opened the folder and slid a printed page toward me. It was a chart. Dates. Amounts. Departments. Payment methods. And a pattern so obvious it made my throat tighten. Monica's name appeared again and again and again, sometimes directly, sometimes through other HR assistants. But always connected. Always in the middle. Mr. Kendall tapped the paper. "We have 3/4 of unexplained variance across several team events. Some might be sloppy paperwork. Some might be fraud," I said. He didn't correct me. Ms. Delaney leaned back. "We need to know what else Monica was doing, and who benefited." I thought of the stairwell. Her confidence. Her smug voice. She said, I began slowly, that nobody would dare report her. That people would rather lick her boots. Mr. Kendall's mouth tightened. People fear HR. Ms. Delaney's eyes stayed on mine. And that fear is profitable. The meeting ended with one request: if you remember anything else, tell compliance immediately. I walked out feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time at this company. Not dread. Momentum. Over the next week, Monica's presence faded like a stain being scrubbed from a white shirt. Her email stopped. Her account disappeared from the directory. Her access badge was deactivated. Then the rumors began. She's suing. Her husband is furious. Compliance found more. Finance is digging into everything. People started to talk to me again, not as a friend, but like a witness they wanted to learn from. Mina from accounting cornered me near the water cooler. I didn't say anything before, she admitted. Because I thought? Maybe it was normal. Normal doesn't mean right, I said. She nodded. She pulled $60 ahead for a lunch last spring. The place was cheap. We all knew it. Nobody questioned it. Did she give you a receipt? Mina hesitated. No. Just said it was handled. I filed that away. Then Omar from sales messaged me. She made us send money to her assistant once. Like a deposit. Said it was a new HR system. I forwarded every one of these messages to compliance. I didn't embellish. I didn't interpret. I just documented. And the more I documented, the more I felt the shape of the truth forming. This wasn't a one-off scam. It was a machine. 2 weeks later, I got a call from my mother. They came to the restaurant, she said. My grip tightened on the phone. Who came? 2 men in suits. They said compliance. They asked for the security footage, the receipt, and the call record. My chest loosened. And? I gave them everything, she said. And sweetheart. One of them asked if Monica ever came before. I stared at the wall. Did she? Mom paused. Not Monica. But. Another woman. Different face. Same attitude. Same demand for special receipts. My stomach turned cold. Do you remember her name? Mom exhaled. No. But I remember her hair. And I remember she had a key card on her belt. A key card. Not a normal customer. An employee. That night, I sat again at my kitchen table and thought about Monica's call in the stairwell. Just wait. She'll be packing her bags within a month. That sounded personal. Like someone had promised Monica something in return. I needed to know who wanted me gone. So I started looking at the only thing Monica couldn't rewrite. Work history. Org charts. Transfers. I pulled up the company directory and searched Monica's background. She wasn't originally assigned to our department. She'd been moved here recently. Why? Then I remembered something else Monica had said, almost bragging, almost casual. And don't even think about running to Mr. Thompson. Not don't run to management. Specifically Mr. Thompson. That meant she was either confident she controlled his attention, or confident he was being kept away from the truth. The next morning, I visited a colleague from another floor, Landon, an IT guy I'd known for years. I didn't ask him to break rules. I didn't ask him to pull private records. I just asked a question he could answer ethically. Can you tell me if my message to Mr. Thompson at noon was delivered? He frowned. You mean the direct message? Yes. He stared at his monitor for a long moment, fingers tapping. Then his eyebrows lifted. Delivered? Yes. Read? No. My pulse stuttered. It was never opened? Not from his account, Landon said slowly. A chill slid down my spine. Because that meant one of two things. Either Mr. Thompson ignored it, or someone else had access to his account. I swallowed. Don't dig further. I'm not asking you to. Landon's face tightened. Rachel. What did you step into? I didn't answer him. Because I didn't know yet. But I was close. That afternoon, compliance called me in again. This time, the room was different. Not just a conference room. A secure room. No windows. A recorder on the table. The compliance man, Mr. Hargrove, looked at me and said, "We need you to tell us everything you heard in the stairwell. Word for word, if possible." I took a breath and repeated it. Including the line about those idiots would rather lick my boots. Including the line about the restaurant being cheap. Including the line about me packing my bags within a month. When I finished, Mr. Hargrove asked quietly, "Did she say who she was speaking to?" "No," I said. "But she spoke like someone was backing her." He nodded once. "We think so too." Then he slid a paper across the table. "A phone number. The unknown number that threatened you," he said. "We traced it to a prepaid device." My stomach tightened. "So it's useless?" "Not entirely," he said. "It was activated using a store loyalty account. The account belongs to an employee." My eyes snapped up. "Who?" He didn't answer immediately. He watched my face like he was measuring whether I'd break. Then he said a name. "Evelyn Park." My mouth went dry. Evelyn Park was not HR. She was Mr. Thompson's executive assistant. And suddenly everything clicked so hard it felt like the floor moved. If Evelyn had access to his calendar, his email, his messages, she could delay him, distract him, bury reports, redirect complaints. She could make Monica feel untouchable. And she could do it quietly. Mr. Hargrove's voice was calm. "We're not accusing. We're investigating. But we need to know, do you have any history with her?" I thought back. Evelyn had always been polite. Always efficient. Always smiling in that careful, professional way. But there had been one moment. Months ago, when I'd been transferred to this department after layoffs. Evelyn had been the one who processed the move. And she'd looked at me like I didn't belong. Like I was an inconvenience. "I don't know her personally," I said. "But she handled my transfer paperwork." Mr. Hargrove nodded. "We suspected." When I left that room, I felt strangely calm again. Because now I had a direction. Monica hadn't been the mastermind. She'd been the weapon. And someone else had pulled the trigger. The next day, an email went out company-wide. Subject, Leadership Update, Interim HR Coverage. It was signed by Ms. Delaney. It stated Monica was no longer active and HR would be temporarily supported by an external partner. No mention of fraud. No mention of investigation. Corporate language always tried to hide blood. But the office could smell it. That afternoon, as I walked past Mr. Thompson's office, I saw Evelyn through the glass. She was on the phone, smiling. Then she glanced up and met my eyes through the window. The smile didn't leave her face. But her eyes sharpened. Like she knew I'd been talking. That night, I received another message from an unknown number. "Keep your mouth shut." I didn't reply. I forwarded it to compliance. And then I did something else. I printed every threat message and put them in a folder. Because I wasn't going to be the only one documenting anymore. I was going to make it impossible for anyone to pretend. A week later, the company held an all-hands meeting. Not the usual cheerful quarterly wins nonsense. This one had a different tone. Security at the entrance. A sign-in sheet. And leadership sitting on a stage like defendants in court. Mr. Thompson spoke first. His voice was controlled. "We want to address concerns regarding recent allegations of misconduct." He didn't say Monica's name. But he didn't need to. The whole room leaned forward. He continued, "We have initiated an internal investigation with third-party oversight. We encourage any employee with relevant information to come forward. Retaliation will not be tolerated." I watched Evelyn from the corner of my eye. She stood near the side wall, clipboard in hand, expression neutral. But her fingers were tight around the pen. Ms. Delaney stepped up next. And unlike Mr. Thompson, she didn't soften anything. "This company is built on trust," she said. "And trust is non-negotiable." Her eyes swept the room. Then, for one brief moment, they landed on me. Not warmth. Not gratitude. Recognition. Then she looked away and said, "We will fix this." After the meeting, people moved differently. They spoke more quietly. They watched more carefully. And for the first time, I saw fear shift directions. It wasn't aimed at me anymore. It was aimed upward. 2 days later, compliance called again. "Rachel," Mr. Hargrove said, "we need you in at 2 p.m. When I arrived, the room wasn't just compliance and finance. It was legal. And Mr. Thompson. And Miss Delaney. And Evelyn Park. Evelyn sat with her back straight and her hands folded. But she looked pale. Not sick pale. Caught pale. Mr. Hargrove placed a file on the table. "We've reviewed device activation records tied to the threatening messages sent to Rachel," he said. "The loyalty account used belongs to Evelyn Park." Evelyn's lips parted. "That's impossible." Legal's tone was flat. "It isn't." Mr. Thompson looked like someone had been punched in the gut. "Evelyn," he said quietly, "why?" Evelyn swallowed. Her eyes flicked toward Ms. Delaney, then away. And in that flick, I saw it. Not loyalty. Fear. She wasn't afraid of Mr. Thompson. She was afraid of someone else. Mr. Hargrove continued, "We also found evidence of unauthorized access to Mr. Thompson's communication tools from an IP address assigned to Evelyn's workstation." Mr. Thompson's voice cracked slightly. "You accessed my messages." Evelyn's eyes filled, barely. "I didn't, I mean." Legal cut in. "We have logs." Silence. Evelyn's composure finally fractured. Not with anger. With a desperate kind of collapse. "I was told to," she whispered. Mr. Thompson went still. "By who?" Evelyn shook her head quickly. "I can't." Ms. Delaney leaned forward. Her voice was deadly calm. "Yes, you can." Evelyn's breath hitched. "If I say it, I'm done." Ms. Delaney didn't blink. "You're already done." Evelyn looked at her like she'd just realized something too late. Then her eyes moved to me. Hate flashed, brief, sharp. And then something else. Resentment. Because I hadn't played along. Because I'd forced the truth to the surface. Evelyn's voice came out thin. Monica wasn't supposed to get caught. Mr. Thompson's face darkened. "So you knew?" Evelyn's shoulders shook once. "Yes." Legal spoke. "Evelyn, you can cooperate now, or this becomes criminal." That word, criminal, changed the room. Evelyn's breathing sped up. She looked down at her hands, then whispered. It was Kendall. The head of finance. Time slowed. Mr. Kendall wasn't in that room. But his name landed like a body. Ms. Delaney's jaw tightened so hard I saw the muscle jump. Mr. Thompson stared. "Kendall?" Evelyn nodded, eyes wet. "He said Rachel was dangerous. He said she knew too much. That if she stayed, she'd ruin everything." I felt my stomach drop. Because I hadn't even realized there was an everything. Evelyn continued, words tumbling now that the dam had broken. Monica collected the money. Kendall made sure finance didn't flag it. I made sure Thompson didn't see complaints. And Monica's husband. She stopped. Mr. Hargrove's voice was gentle but firm. "Finish." Evelyn swallowed. Monica's husband is a minority shareholder. Kendall promised him a promotion on the board if he helped cover the gaps. The gaps. I understood instantly. It wasn't just dinners. It was a system for skimming money, hiding it in small amounts, across departments, so it looked like noise. And Monica's dinner scam had gotten sloppy because she was trying to force me out at the same time. Two crimes layered on top of each other. That was why it felt wrong. Because it was. Mr. Thompson looked like he might be sick. Ms. Delaney stood slowly. "Thank you, Evelyn." Evelyn blinked up, confused. "Thank you?" Ms. Delaney's expression didn't change. "For confirming what we already suspected." Evelyn's face went blank. Mr. Hargrove said, "Evelyn, you are suspended pending further investigation. Legal will contact you regarding next steps." Evelyn's eyes snapped toward Mr. Thompson. You can't let them do this. You know how much I've done for you. Mr. Thompson's voice was quiet. I didn't ask you to threaten people. Evelyn's face crumpled, and then she was escorted out. When the door shut, the room felt like a crime scene. Mr. Hargrove turned to me. Rachel, the threats you received were directly linked to internal misconduct. We will include you as a protected reporting party. Ms. Delaney looked at me. Rachel, if you experience anything, tell me. I nodded. Then I asked the only thing that mattered. What happens now? Ms. Delaney's answer was simple. We clean house. And they did. Over the next month, the company changed like it had been forced to grow bones. Monica was terminated for cause. It didn't say fraud in the announcement, but everyone knew. Her husband quietly sold his shares. Mr. Kendall resigned, which is corporate language for we're letting you leave without a public trial so the company looks stable. But that didn't mean he escaped. Compliance didn't stop at resignation. The investigation expanded, and the second wave hit hard. 2 HR assistants. 1 mid-level manager. A vendor contract. A team-building budget that turned out to be a personal slush fund. People I'd never expected were suddenly gone. The office started to feel like a building after a storm, standing but changed. And my department? They stopped looking at me like I was the problem. Some of them looked ashamed. Some looked grateful. Some looked fearful, because they realized what happens when someone refuses to play along. One afternoon, Julie came to my desk. She held a small envelope. I didn't know, she whispered. I didn't take it immediately. You did know something felt wrong. Her eyes filled. Yes. I took the envelope. Inside was $45 in cash. I stared at it for a long moment. Then I handed it back. Keep it, I said. You'll need it more than I will. Her mouth trembled. Why are you being kind? I looked past her, at the office around us. Because the truth was, I wasn't doing this for $45. I was doing it because Monica and people like her survived on everyone's silence. And I wasn't willing to feed them anymore. 2 weeks later, I got another calendar invite. This one was different. No urgency. No intimidation. Just a time. And a subject line that made my stomach tighten. Performance review, role discussion, Miss Delaney. When I entered her office, she didn't waste time. She gestured for me to sit, then slid a folder across the desk. I reviewed your file, she said. My chest tightened. My file? She nodded. 10 years. Solid performance. No discipline. One documented injury that should have been handled better by the company. I stayed silent. Ms. Delaney's gaze didn't soften, but it sharpened with respect. You didn't just expose fraud, she said. You exposed a culture that allowed it. I swallowed. It didn't feel heroic. It wasn't, she said. It was risky. She tapped the folder. We're offering you a role in operations compliance, internal controls. You'd report directly to my office. My breath caught. Not because I wanted power. But because it meant something simple. They weren't just thanking me. They were putting me where I couldn't be quietly pushed out again. I stared at her. Why? Ms. Delaney leaned back slightly. Because you have something this company has been missing. What? Her answer was quiet. A spine. I signed the offer that day. That night, I drove to my parents' restaurant and sat at a table near the window, watching the kitchen bustle. My mother came out wiping her hands on an apron and kissed my forehead like I was still a kid. I'm proud of you, she said. I looked at the plates, the custom plates Monica had tried to turn into a weapon. They looked ordinary now. Just plates. But I knew better. I knew how close my life had come to being quietly dismantled by someone else's ambition. And how easily it could have happened if I'd paid $45 and stayed silent. As I sat there, my phone buzzed. One last message from an unknown number. No threats. No anger. Just 3 words. You ruined us. I stared at it for a long time. Then I deleted it. Not because it didn't matter. Because it didn't own me. I walked into the kitchen, hugged my father, and listened to him joke with the cooks as if the world had never tried to swallow me. And for the first time in weeks, my shoulders finally lowered. The battle was over. Not because Monica lost. But because the system behind her cracked. And once a crack appears, it never fully disappears again. It only waits for someone brave, or tired, enough to widen it.